Welcome to Imola for the first race of a brand new series, Legends of Le Mans. This is going to be part of the support package for the World Endurance Championship on a number of occasions this season. Martin Haven and Graham Goodwin ready to watch the action with you. And Graham, suddenly we're 15 years younger than we currently are, because these are cars that we slathered over watching racing and commentating on in period, and here they are back again in all their glory.
And so glorious. This one in particular, it has to be said, the 008, the Lola Aston Martin, hugely successful car in Le Mans series at the time. These cars, on one occasion, completed a 1-2-3 at the Nürburgring in the hands of the factory team. We had a happy half hour this morning, didn't we, down in the paddock with birthday boy Ant Davidson.
Yes.
Trying out that car, and this one too, both
yes.
of which he raced in period. This, of course, is the Peugeot, the 908. Both iterations of 908 on this grid, both the V8 cars from 2011 and the earlier HDI FAP, the mighty V12 cars in both factory and very historic Oraca colours feature here. This is a grid, by the way, that will grow through this season, and I'm sure in future seasons of the Legends of Le Mans. Supports the WC here at Imola in a few weeks' time at Spa. They'll then move. There is the Oraca liveried car, the Sebring winning car from 2011 that beat the brand new factory V8 cars. Fabulous, fabulous stuff. But yeah, we'll go on, by the way, to Le Mans Classic, and against our current expectation with the WC calendar, will complete their 4-race season in the desert in Bahrain.
Wow, that's going to be fun. I have to say, these cars around Spa-Francorchamps, how fab are they going to be? Again, with 3 Peugeots on the front 2 rows of the grid. That Lola Aston Martin on pole position, driven by Christian Albrecht, is going to have its work cut out for it. This may not be a track, actually, that suits the Peugeots quite as much as Spa will. I think that might be true for the Aston Martin as well. All of these cars, of course, in period racing in LMP1, the top prototype class that grew out of LMP 900 originally. And yeah, fabulous full factory efforts, those cars. 5
LMP1s on the grid. I think I spotted a 6th, which may start from pit lane. This, the number 37 car, Marcel Ebel, from Switzerland, from Race Performance, a successful LMP2 team of the era, with the mighty Judd V10 in the back of this thing. It sounds glorious. Ex-Intersport car from the American Le Mans series. John Field back into racing now, the patron of that team.
Is he?
He is back into racing in LMP2 in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Series. But 2 of those cars are here. We'll talk about the other one if it shows on the grid. Not quite sure why not. But Marcel Abel, by the way, was the team manager. Look at this thing, and look at the guy driving it, Francois Perraudot, in the absolutely magnificent Porsche RS Spyder. The extraordinary thing about this car, this specific car, Martin, it's an unraced car in period. This was the car bought by Freddie Leinhardt's team as their spares package, and it sat as such through the racing career of the other, more famous car, if you like, and was snapped up, I'm sure, very readily by Francois Perraudot, who absolutely loves this car. 830 kilos, of which I think he told me 40 kilos is actually ballast.
Yes, absolutely.
Not hugely powerful, under 500 horsepower, but Francois is a guy you should listen to, and he tells you that thing corners like nothing else he's ever driven.
And that's why it crushed Audi in street races in IMSA in period as an LMP2 car up against the V8 Audi LMP1s. So you just saw alongside him Mathieu Lahaye, current LMP2 driver in the European Le Mans Series, and he's in an Oak Pescarolo, of course, the man who took over the bankrupt Pescarolo team when it was shuttered and sold from Henri Pescarolo. Jacques Nicolet is on this grid as well.
He is in a later car. In fact, looking at those cars in the middle part of what is a really tasty LMP2 grid, the very pretty Ligier JSP2s, of which we have 3 in this race. 2 of them engined the V8 Judd in them, and 1 with the at one point kind of almost dominating Nissan This is the 47 car from JWA Racing, a WEC team in their own period, by the way. In the first year of WC, JWA Avila operated a Porsche in LMGT3 AM. Andy Cummings it will be that operates this car. This car, by the way, the pit crew is James Watt. He's the dad, his two sons, who are twins, and his brother Aidan. So the Watt family, the 4 Watts, if you like, operating this car. Another Oak Pescarolo.
We couldn't tell what was what, though.
Well, we couldn't tell what
was what. And of course, those colours, KCMG, also transferred in LMP2 into the early years of the series, and so did these colours. Very successful indeed. Roman Rusinov, LMP2 champion, Le Mans winner.
His car.
With G-Drive.
He's here with
absolutely.
This car. This is his friend, Evgeny Kirov. This is the Oraca 05, and this is as close as damn it to the currently absolutely dominant Oraca 07. This car with a Nissan engine, and the 05 very successful in its own right. You can see the back of the grid there with the 2 GTE cars we have here. I am told we'll get at least double that for Spa. We'll talk about that race meeting shortly. There is one of the JSP2s, Pierre Arret, still racing in GT cars around the world, but Pierre Arret, successful businessman, owns a family winery that will, I'm sure, I've just seen, is advertised on the rear wing of the car. At the back of the grid, in United Autosports colours, another of the JSP2s, and the, in racing terms, unique HPD. We'll come to that car. There are 2. Could there be 2 more different GTE cars on the right?
Really not.
Race to the end of GTE. This formula, by the way, welcomes cars homologated up to 2020. The XTF Sports Aston Martin Vantage AMR, and on the left-hand side of the grid, the fabulous little 2011 Lotus Evora, raced in the Le Mans Series at Le Mans with Jet Alliance, 2 cars. It's 1 and 2. Looks like the Oraca 05 is going to struggle off the grid there, but this car raced on in the United States in the American Le Mans Series Alex Job Racing. It carries those colours here in the hands of its very, very proud owner and driver, Professor Wolfgang Hensler. Not Hensler, Hensler.
And it's a great opportunity, especially for younger fans, actually, and fans of a certain age to kind of relive their youth, to see these cars back in action. Of course, the growth and growth and growth of historic racing has only been sort of almost outstripped by the growth of modern sports car racing, both enormously successful, but once they are no longer competitive, what then do you do with these front-running cars? And the answer is, increasingly, championships grow up to support them. And this is a joint venture between the ACO and Peter Auto, who've been, well, back in the early days, responsible really for the growth of GT racing, BPR.
Well, Peter Auto now, you know, co-owned by the ACO and ASO, that you'll know more regularly as the organisers, amongst the other things, the Tour de France.
And the Dakar.
And the Dakar.
Yeah.
And what this also...
There's a portfolio, by the way.
What this also heralds, by the way, is against current plans. We move now to the Classic Le Mans being our annual event, and on the even years, of which this is one, the more modern cars, of which these are, they will feature, and in the odd years, the older 1920s, 1930s cars will take the stage. And the promise is, if this series flourishes, I've no doubt it will, then in those years, we get to see them at Le Mans during the 24 hours week.
And of course, there is so much more modern machinery, because just the volume of sports car racing globally than there was of, say, 917s from the 70s or GT40s from the well, oh no, because there are probably more GT40s now than were ever built. But you get my drift. Back in the 20s and 30s, we're talking of handfuls. Here we're talking of production runs. Well, with Oraca's current 07 of over 100, over 300 cars.
144.
Yeah, 140 cars, you know, and over 300 GT3 Porsches and all of that and all of that. So the volume of cars that are waiting for a championship in which enthusiasts can race them is increasing all the time.
Well, what we've got here are the 3 whispering turbo diesel Peugeots. We lost one, I'm afraid, in practice cracked a gearbox over a bump on this circuit. They're in the paddock. They're going to come down for what's a rolling start, separated between a V12 Aston Martin Lola and a V10 Judd Lola. The hounds of hell about to be unleashed.
So here we go, rolling start for the 40-minute race here, the first ever for Legends of Le Mans, and what a track at which to do it. And it is Christian Albeck in the Golf Lola Aston who has the lead. Behind him, straight through from 5th place in LMP1, comes Marcel Aby in that race performance Lola with the Judd V10, and then Peugeot. Now those 908s are going to take a lap or two to really get the heat into the tyres. I know from watching Steve Brooks race his 908 over a couple of seasons, and that's why these tyres, they are allowed tyre warmers in the paddock, but when they leave the paddock, the tyres will then get colder and colder and colder. So the Oraca liveried car moving up into 3rd place. Sean Lynn in that car, the winner in Sebring, so nearly a winner at Le Mans in a year where all the Peugeots failed. It was the last one to go poof and stop at the side of the track.
But yep, Sean Lynn, father of full season, but currently injured. Hope you're feeling better, Alex Lynn. And Sean regularly races his other son, Max.
Yeah, Max starting to turn into quite the historic racer as well. Really.
And doing a bit more contemporary racing too. Noticed him in GT and in LMP3 cars. Start under investigation is often the case.
I'm guessing that might be the white and red car of Marcel Aby, who went from, where did he come from, to, oh, there he is in 2nd.
Luxembourg, I think.
Yeah, coming in off quite a long run-up. However, he has handed places back to the Peugeots, so maybe he felt that he was a little... Oh no, that's not. That's the Swiss racing car, isn't it? So that's from no, that's the Porsche Spyder, Francois Perraudot.
So lots of these cars with fantastic stories to tell. We get a chance to look at the number 6 Peugeot in the hands of Stuart Wiltshire. That is, or almost was, a WEC car. A WEC car. No, that's again over the gravel. He's enjoying his afternoon, isn't he?
Well, throwing in a bit of rallycross as well.
We'll talk about that car when we actually see the number 6. Coulda, shoulda, woulda been a WC LMP1 car. Marcel Aby is absolutely loving this. But Sean Lynn, I think, is possibly biding his time and waiting for mistake number 3.
And behind him, Steve Brooks in his 908 and Stuart Wiltshire.
And sticking with the programme, by the way, behind Francois Perraudot. And right there behind him, what is an invitation entry, Mathieu Lehay, because he's a silver-ranked driver in that number 21 Oak Pescarolo. And after struggling to get off the line by the look of it, Evgeny Clarith is right there in the number 46 Oraca 05. So watch him as we get deeper into this race.
Yeah, all the other guys are gentlemen enthusiasts and bronze-rated FIA status drivers. And that's why Lehay is in a class of his own. The car was due to be driven by Francois Heriot, who's racing in WEC in his AF Ferrari.
Yeah, we'll see Francois in this car at Classic Le Mans, I gather. Meanwhile, here comes the Lola Aston Martin. What a sound.
I know. It's a shame actually on that shot the camera is quite so far away from the engine, because it certainly compares very nicely to the sound of the Valkyrie, doesn't it?
It most certainly does. 140.494 is motoring. Here comes Sean Lynn getting the heat into everything in this magnificent V12 powered turbo diesel Peugeot. So successful in its era. Didn't quite, other than once, put it together at Le Mans. But dominated everywhere else in what most people would see as an Audi era. Christian Albrecht pushing on and pulling out that gap. Not going to get away though, are they? These two cars beginning to get the heat into the Michelin tyres. This is all Michelin shod, this grid.
Steve Brooks, Wiltshire just ahead of Francois Perraudot. Mathieu Lehay with the white and green. Of course, reminding us that back in the day, not just LMP2, but actually LMP1 cars were open prototypes as well, or could be open prototypes.
And so many different eras represented. What happened here?
Well, that was on lap 1, wasn't it? That was on the Exeter Tamburello on lap 1.
Car 47, this This is the Andy Cummings JWA car, overtook before the start line. So,
well, that was not the car we were expecting to see.
I was expecting 37, but it looks like he might well have actually nailed it.
Now then, we may see that change in a moment, because 37 and 47 is a very easy typo, isn't it? It does happen very occasionally that there is a typo on the messages on the screen.
Let's tell the story of this this rainbow-coloured Oraca. Handed into...
In a minute.
Indeed. Handed into the... in fact, oh, good grief, there you go, car 37 under investigation, overtook before the start line. This is my not surprised face. But that car in the hands of Hugh de Schonak's fantastic team was effectively in as an additional entry alongside the factory cars. This was the older car by 2011, the V8 car, lighter, supposed to be faster, more wieldy, and they just had a less troubled race at Sebring, which is a bit of a car killer. And there was a famous sequence of shots taken by my friend and colleague David Lord, who realised what was about to happen, positioned himself not trackside but in front of the pit box at Oraca, and captured all the emotion of Hugh de Schonak in those last couple of laps. It is a stunning set of shots.
Hugh de Schonak is a man who does show a lot of emotion, doesn't he? That win, the previous season, when or 2 years earlier, when all of the Peugeots blew their engines and his was the last man standing, and then middle of Sunday morning, finally the telltale smoke rings came out of the exhaust of that car as well. And of course, 30 years, 25 years after winning with Mazda, he was effectively running the team for another Japanese manufacturer, Toyota, when 1 lap from victory, his and everybody else in the garage's hopes collapsed as the car came to a grinding halt.
So a massive part of modern sports car racing he and Oraca have been.
And still are, because, you know, not just the race cars you're looking at here and the LMP2 cars they're still building, but hypercar chassis, LMDH chassis come out of Oraca as well. There has been that change then for second place. Sean Lynn has summoned up his courage to try and get by the slightly random off-track antics of Marcel Abley, and he, again under pressure, KCMG and G-Drive, there's not quite a period battle between the two cars, but certainly those two liveries raced each other.
Great thing about this series is we are seeing different eras in the modern era. We're seeing the transition from open top to closed top. Very many people mourn the death of closed top race cars, you know, in the middle of the last decade. We're seeing on some of these cars the shark fins that came up in that period as well. If you take a look at the Peugeots, there's one of each, one without, one with. And again, that was a move designed for safety. It was about stopping the car from lifting off if it went sideways and the air got underneath it. It works, but was not a popular aesthetic with the fan base.
Do you know what? I always liked it. I have no problem at all with the shark fin. I really like it. And, you know, when we saw some of those horrendous flying incidents, that definitely did need attending to. So 10-second time penalty added to the time of car number 37, Marcel Abley.
This is where the position changed, and not unsurprisingly, it was a bit of a wayward moment there for Marcel. He's finding his way. Great to see, by the way, this little team back in it. He managed the race performance team back in the day. He's going to get 10 seconds added to his total race time as well, so we're going to adjust that one. Success with their day with a variety of cars, including, I think, what was a unique Jod engine Oraca 03, and I'm pretty certain Marcel managed this team to a very early championship win in the Asia Le Mans series.
Well, here you can see Steve Brooks and Stuart Wiltshire, and these later versions of the Peugeot with the shark fin, as you can see from head on, you can tell the difference. They've got a very much taller, sort of full height headlamp, whereas the earlier car, the V12 diesel, has a smaller light. Francois Perrault, though, in the Porsche RS Spyder, losing out in the run up to Tamburello and then reeling in his rivals all the way around. He's right behind the two Peugeot.
I mean, Francois still competitive in current LMP2, competing this year in the European Le Mans Series. but it's a pleasure when you see a guy you know is driven by the passion for the history of the sport, owns a fantastic collection of historic race cars, and when he says this corner's like nothing else on earth, you should listen.
Yeah, he's got a bit of experience in things like this, hasn't he, in prototype racing.
It's fastest lap of the race in the hands of Sean Lynn. He's closing down the gap to Christian Albrecht. That gap had come out to over 5 seconds. It's now back to 3.8, so let's keep an eye on that. It is still Francois Perrodo leading this LMP2 class, ahead of an LMP2 car, but an invitational driver with Mathieu Lehay. So Mathieu, remember, a silver-ranked driver in a later generation, but it's fair to say that this is an era of LMP2 where the excesses, if you can put it that way, the factories that took on the LMP2 rule set, and that would be, yes, close your ears, Porsche and Acura, but that was reeled in for cost reasons, correctly so, and look at how successful that's been in the cost-capped era nowadays.
Yeah, no question at all about it. You have to stop people outspending their rivals, and otherwise sports car racing dies, as it has done periodically over the years. So back with Christian Albrecht, our race leader. Just a moment or two to enjoy that. Actually, we're talking to the team that run the car, and they say, in fact, Anthony Davidson was saying, inside the car, it sounds much more prosaic. That high revving V12 engine note is generated in the length of the exhaust, and so as a driver, and in fact the hypercar drivers at Aston Martin say exactly the same, it doesn't sound all that when you're in the cockpit.
It's not for them.
It's not for them, it's not about them, it's about us.
This Oraca 05, great to see this car back in action. Very unusual now, Oraca 05s, even in the historic racing scene. Why? Because you could convert one to an Oraca 07. And there's an argument that unless you had something that had been successful in period, why on earth wouldn't you do so? Interesting sidebar is there is one brand new Oraca 05. Why? Because Hugues de Schonack in the factory museum wanted one, and they couldn't find one anywhere because the only ones that are left are now the valuable Championship and Le Mans winning cars.
And so they built another one just to go into the museum. So nice little battle. Francois Perrodo, never afraid of taking on the big boys, and certainly reveling the way the car rides over the curbs. Of course, the engine from this Porsche RS Spyder very much formed the basis of the current 963 hypercar power unit. So that engine lives on in modified and turbocharged form in the LMDH car that Porsche races.
Is it still current? I've forgotten.
Well, it's a flat 6. You know, they'll always be current. As long as they're making badges with the Porsche, cars with the Porsche badge on the front, you hope a flat 6 will be involved somewhere.
I just see in the background of that shot Michel Frey, who was the driver for the other Lola that should have been in this race. Didn't work out why that car didn't join us on the grid. It certainly did qualify, but no doubt that car will be back quickly. Hopefully tomorrow's 40-minute race. But this is a double-header for these cars this weekend. Cracking idea to support the FIA World Endurance Championship, and delighted to say that the very club-like atmosphere in the paddock for Legends of Le Mans has been massively supported by the fans. Lots of people being very respectful about the machinery and asking questions. And I have to tell you, there's some heritage pit crew in there as well. Lots of people I recognise from back in the day, and still currently. Dave Lampett there, looking after the HPD. I'm sure we'll see that later. There is Jacques Nicolet, the man responsible for the rejuvenation of the Ligier marque, that's still with us today.
And not just as a racing driver and an enthusiast, but as a businessman, has put an awful lot into this, because he revived Pescarolo, he rescued Pescarolo, handed the keys back to Pescarolo so that he could run his own team, and then Pescarolo morphed into Oak and into Morgan as well. So, you know, through several iterations, has kept that company alive.
Well, this little car was talking, there's all sorts of people that you get into conversations with about these cars, and none other than Alex West, who's now the races in the FIA World Endurance Championship, co-owner of Garage 59, as we've got the lead cars in traffic. It is, after all, sports car racing. And He indeed had I think his only season in prototypes in the Asian Le Mans series. That's come up more than once in an AF Corsa run Ligier.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to think. I think with Pipo Derani and Com Lenegar, now a very successful team owner in one-make Porsche racing. Sean Lynn making progress here, but losing a little bit of ground to Christian Albrecht with 25 minutes to go. First and second as they come through the GTs. And Michael Doppelmayr in that ex-United Autosports, now I believe a Ligier Judd. It would have been a Nissan engine car in period. And there's a change there, I think. I just saw Mathieu Lehay alongside Francois Perraudot looking to see what he could do. He has indeed across the line. He's been fended back off through the twiddly bits. This is a cracking little car. The number 13, pedalled by Professor Wolfgang Hensler.
On the diametrically opposite end of success from Aston Martin's GTE car, though.
Always some lovely stories about these cars. I was at a European Le Mans Series race a year or two ago, chatting to a couple of friends over lunch. On the next table was Johnny Molam, who raced this car at Le Mans in period. And we worked it out that on the adjoining 2 or 3 tables, of the 6 drivers that drove this at Le Mans, 4 of them were eating within about 30 feet of us, one of whom I hadn't seen since Le Mans in 2011 when these cars raced.
God, the people you meet under the golden arches. Now then, little change. That was lapping, going by the United Autosport car.
Well, that's the Stuart Brooks car.
Yeah.
Get a shot of the car just behind. There's the 6th car. Under pressure now for position by Francois Perraudot.
Well, as he has been right from lap 1, so Stuart Wiltshire has not really had the opportunity to settle in, because Francois Perraudot in that red and white Porsche Spyder is being a right nuisance.
Well, that number 6 car, that's a car with a very unusual history. It is an ex-factory Peugeot, what do they call it, 90X, although 908 was the published derivation of that car. But this is a car that could have been a WC car. That car was a hybrid version of the car under the awning at the infamous Sebring test, at the point at which Peugeot pulled the plug on its the 2012. More shenanigans there from the 37. Pulled the plug on its 2012 FIWC program, which is why we got Toyota in that year. They agreed to accelerate the entry with the TSO 30, sorry, TSO 20 is the GT1 car, isn't it? And without that, we wouldn't have seen Toyota enter the WC in 2012. So the car converted back to full turbo diesel power, and he's now dropped behind the slightly earlier RS Spyder in the hands of the somewhat more experienced Francois Perraudot. And Perraudot has broken the toe of the... He's having great fun, isn't he?
Well, Marcel Abe is giving marshals kittens all over the place. I'm sure the race team will thank him for bringing about 800 kilos of gravel back to the pit lane with him.
I was going to say that the Lola Parts truck must be, but there clearly isn't a Lola Parts truck here. They're in the hands now of Till Bechtolsheimer. Lola cars, I've no doubt, will be back in sports car racing at some point. Currently, of course, in Formula E.
Yeah.
And just building, I gather, it's a road legal Lola T70.
Yes.
With fully, what do we say, recyclable, what is it? It's from renewable sources,
right.
Bodywork.
Which, I mean, every time you look at a Lola T70, like a Chevron B8 or B16, you go, of course, that looks like it should be a road car, but
it wasn't.
And I think a couple of people in period sort of might have commuted into London for a picture on the Daily Express on a quiet news day or something, but it never was.
Yep.
But it absolutely should be. It's crying. It's been crying out for nearly 40 years to be made into a road car. So, yeah, well done indeed. Now then, what's going on with the Peugeot?
Slightly struggled out of the corner there. He's about to be gobbled up by Mathieu Lehay. So is that a problem looming?
Porsche Spyder has gone straight by him. There is Francois Perraudot, who was behind him last lap and is now well clear. And you're right, Mathieu Lehay was all over the back of him as well, coming out of Tosa.
So if you are at Imola and you'd fancy a really animated chat with a racing driver, just go to the Porsche RS Spyder awning afterwards, because I'm sure, that's trouble maybe for Sean Lynn as well.
Well, this is history repeating itself. Where is Hugues de Schonack? Let's look in the garage, because
and Davidson's at the back of the booth here, and he's twitching visibly.
Seen it all before, Anthony Davidson. Seen it all before.
What's happened here? Let's have a quick look at the
here's
HPD.
Here's the HPD. Oh, yeah, not nerfed away by the curb there.
That's a suboptimal line, I think we'll describe that as.
I think so.
That's a quick word about this car. It's the first time we've had a chance for a close look at it. Unique racing car now. 3 of these built. Were debuted by the Tequila Patron ESM team at the Daytona 24 Hours and had all sorts of aerodynamic problems, rejected by the team. They were replaced effectively by the car they replaced, and whilst they did get an aerodynamic rethink, an upgrade, never raced again. One of those cars, that was rather screwy sideways as well, wasn't it? Yeah. One of those cars, briefly talked about with a potential Pikes Peak adventure that came into the hands of BBM Sport in the UK and now in the hands of the team that are running it here today. Pretty little car. And
we might have to talk to Bruce Ioanni, our pit reporter for World Endurance, about Pikes Peak. It seems like he's getting set to head back with a prototype.
No, it's a Ligier. It's a Ligier kind of GT car.
Oh, okay.
He's a madman, that Bruce Ioanni, you know.
JS GT3 or something?
JS2R.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
And we've seen a lot of those racing at Le Mans in support races.
Well, I'll tell you what, once he's finished that run, if you bring the chocolates, I'll bring the grapes.
Well, he likes a free-fall parachute or two, doesn't he? So he'll be happy with that. Now then, back up to speed, Stuart Wiltshire in Anne Davidson's old car. So Anthony is breathing a bit more of a sigh of relief. And just to make sure that nobody gets too bored of anything, there goes the 83 car, Francois Perraudot.
That is Sean Lynn having a bit of a rotation.
And that was Sean Lynn chasing the leader and losing second place to Marcel Aby. So that's why when we picked him up, he was going more slowly than he had been, because he looped it around at the chicane.
But more than halfway through this race, it is a dominant performance from Christian Albrecht. He's now 22 seconds up on the somewhat wayward, but still on track, Marcel Aby. Remember, he's got a 10-second penalty to be added to the end of this race, so that is a virtual position for Marcel. Sean Lynn enjoying himself in 3rd place. Steve Brooks in another of the Peugeots. Then Francois Perraudot, 5th overall, leading LMP2, and he has passed Stuart Wiltshire, who's back up to speed, as you said a little earlier, Martin, and has broken the toe with Mathieu Lehay, who's now trying to soak up some pressure from Evgeny Kurev in the front row racing, entered 46 Oraca.
And as it stands, with a 10-second penalty, Marcel Aby will actually drop between the number 6 Peugeot of Stuart Wiltshire and Mathieu Lehay in that green and white LMP2 car. As we look at the battle for 4th in LMP2.
Indeed, this is the 47, KCMG. Went on to win at Le Mans in the another car, a rather different car, another Oraca 05. I believe that car, by the way, it's in the hands of Paul Lipp, the team owner. They've returned to racing this year with a campaign at the Nürburgring with Mercedes. Watch this space for what they're going to do next.
There can't be many teams in sports car racing who aren't casting envious eyes at the World Endurance grid. There must be an awful lot of people who are trying to think, how am I going to get into that? Who do I need to badger? Who do I need to know?
What's happened here? So Marcel Aby
I imagine he's
again.
Chucked it across the gravel
No,
somewhere.
I can't believe that. How could you possibly? He's having a whale of a time.
He really, and I have to say, actually, he is giving this car 11 tenths. at all possible opportunities.
I have this kind of mental image at the moment of John Field watching this broadcast from across the other side of the Atlantic, thoroughly approving.
Yeah. John Field likes nothing more than a fun racing car. Well, he likes more than a fun racing car. He likes to be in a fun racing car, but second to that, he'll watch one.
Absolutely. It's a period of time when these Lolas were given, how can I put this, a generous restrictor in the American Le Mans series, and it was not unusual to see a wide-eyed John Field passing factory Audis in the early part of the race.
Yeah.
Lacks for nothing, this Judd package, and the AER turbo package as well, which was very often the case. Intersport, you know, a team that's supported the American Le Mans series through many years. Also, by the way, gave us the opportunity to see the very first full season racing efforts of Ollie Gavin in the USA, which led, of course, to what we might describe as success in this time of Corvette. Well, he did lose a lot of races.
Only if he's listening.
He won a few. He is here.
Steve Brooks here in the Peugeot, just about keeping it out of gravel there at Ravazza. He kind of ran in a little deeper than I think he wanted to. Francois Perraudot piling on the pressure. Of course, Perraudot, a long-time World Endurance Championship racer, multiple champion in LMP2 cars and in GTE AM, but his preferred weapon of choice, the LMP2 car, not eligible for World Endurance any longer, so still racing in European Le Mans Series. And again, back with this now three-way battle, Cummings, Nicolay, and behind them in that United Autosports car is Michael Doppelmayr.
That's a bit odd.
They just lapped him. I think they might have lapped him.
So in LMP2 it is Francois Perraudot, then the G-Drive Oraca 05 of Evgeny Kirev, then Pierre Arret in the other orange LMP2, the one with the Arret family colours aboard it, the JSP2 car, the number 35. Andy Cummings in the KCMG car, then Jack Nicolay, and then Mark Drain is next up, and he's a long way back from this group in that very pretty HPD. The battle goes on for what is fourth place overall. Yeah. And I think Francois Perraudot fancies an overall podium here.
Well, you absolutely know he does. The problem is, as much as he can climb all over Steve Brooks in Ravazza, it's then flat out all the way to the start-finish line. So he has to actually shut the door on Steve Brooks and get by him somewhere around maybe Acqua Minerale.
He's got to hope he makes a mistake in the turns. Yeah, it's a little bit like the Ford Falcon and little Mini Cooper days, isn't it?
Yep.
One car blisteringly quick in a straight line, the other one just laughter-inducing through the corners. Under 13 minutes to go. Francois stood with his head down. There's just elements there, and back in the day when the Penske ran the DHL coloured cars of Romain Dumas. And Romain's had this style where his head would bobble around in the cockpit. One of the other elements, by the way, which has been great fun for Legends of Le Mans, I was about to mention Manu Collard there in the middle. A number of these cars have got pro drivers here. They're not allowed to race, but they can set up laps. Oh, trouble! And that is the 16 car of Steve Brooks.
So that's the car that was in fourth place, and that is at Variante Alta. I thought he had quite a lot of understeer in the last couple of laps when we've picked him up.
He has got the car going.
Yeah, it didn't look like a very firm impact at the back. All the lights are still on, the bodywork is still attached. Now he just wants to get over this curb without getting beached, which he has done.
Don't worry about the smoke, it's a feature, sir. Let's hope there's no damage to that. I don't think he hit that barrier very hard.
No. I mean, you don't want to, because obviously going to the parts department is not easy here. In fact, it wasn't, was it? That's the exit of Acqua Minerale.
Just
Variante Alta, yeah.
Just a peck on the cheek of that barrier there. Well, you say that about the parts. I mean, the initial deal with a group of investors that saw 9 of these cars move into private hands, a mix of V12 and V8 cars, came also with all sorts of other support, including the blueprints. So they are in a position, BBM Sport, in a position where they can pretty much.
The problem is, to build even a wing fence, you have to also then build a solid one, make a mould so that you can mould the carbon part that you need for the car. Same for the suspension, same for every piece of bodywork. So it's not a straightforward process by any means. Unless you get the moulds as well as the blueprints, then you're still in for a 3-month build period to replace components.
They have literally everything.
They will need
and
to
anybody would know that BBM, you know, Bob Berridge, who heads up BBM Sport with Steve Briggs and Nick Manassian, by the way, they are the BBM of BBM Sports. He's a charitable sort. I don't think he'd be charging for parts. Can't see it.
Warning flag for unsafe rejoin for Steve Brooks. Little harsh. I've seen Brooks race this car a lot, and unsafe is not a word I would use.
That would have been for the rejoin from the nerf into the barrier.
Yeah, well, somebody did come close to him, but in fairness to him, he was on the other end of Acqua Minerale, and so he's not going to be able to see anybody coming down the hill.
Under 10 minutes to go, and the man on the move is Francois Perraudot, now 4th overall and closing on Marcel Aby.
10 minutes and 11 seconds to close on Aby. What he needs is for Aby to do a bit more rally crossing and halve that gap, and then suddenly it's all on for 3rd overall.
I think Marcel must have misread the regulations. I'm sure he saw something about joker laps.
Did he?
But,
well, 8 of them. It's a sort of mixed martial arts of endurance racing for Marcel.
I'm sure there's going to be an enormous amount of Swiss bonhomie this evening at a restaurant close to the track.
Well, he's going to have to buy the boys beers, isn't he, for clearing out the car, that's for sure.
Dear me.
He certainly has given it everything he's got.
Well, it's great. You go out to have a race, come back and get a rockery. It's all good. 9 minutes to go. Christian Albrecht leads the race by 20 seconds now from Sean Lynn. Marcel Aby is under pressure now from Francois Perraudot. Stuart Wiltshire is dropped back from the Frenchman aboard the very pretty Porsche RS Spyder. Mathieu Lehay is right with Stuart Wiltshire.
Fastest car on track last lap, Francois Perraudot, quicker than the race leader in the Lola Aston.
And
so he's taken nearly 4 seconds, 3 seconds out of the battle for 3rd place.
This is the battle behind him for 5th, with Stuart Wiltshire holding off a somewhat rampant Mathieu Lehay. And a car, we were informed this morning, was shaken down when new by none other than Bruce Schiavone.
Ah, okay.
Which explains all sorts of things about the condition of that car.
Yeah, if only Bruce wasn't in the room, we could explain that a little bit. The HPD, by the way, that sort of windscreen that goes straight down the nose almost, like a sort of one piece, makes me think of a URD.
I have to say, it was not a successful car in period, but what a joy to see a unique car racing. Mark Drain and the team around him are going to, I'm sure, get their heads around this as they get more experience with the car. But Christian Albrecht is just pedal to metal all the way around. He's
having a lovely time, and as a result, you know, the car nicely placed, nicely balanced, and he's getting plenty out of it as well.
I tell you, in period, these cars were the world's most expensive alarm clocks for the Daily Sports Car team, because the Aston Martin racing garages were always underneath where we were in the Le Mans press room, and when this thing starts, it's like a grenade goes off. It's a remarkable sound.
It's another old girlfriend of Anthony Davidson, that Golf Lola Aston. And here is... it is definitely, it is without question, although Anthony would argue it until his dying day, the prettiest of all the Peugeot liveries.
Well, I think the important thing to say is that Anthony's wrong.
It does not look like a clown car. I'm sorry, that's just not right.
Yep, Hugh de Schoenack has just fired up the Citroen Black Van. It's on its way here to rough him up.
And Sean Lynn, he enjoys his motor racing, doesn't he? Here's the Pierre Arret-driven car.
Watch this, he said. Hold my beer. Hold it all together. To the 35 JSP2. This is the Nissan engine car.
And that is 3rd of our LMP2 contenders at the moment.
Yeah, this is the engine effectively replaced by the current Gibson. And these engines, stock block engines, prepared for racing both by what was then Zytek, now Gibson in the UK, and by Oraca in France for various markets around the world.
Pierre Rouret has been racing a few years, hasn't he? He has got a couple of kilometres under his belt.
172 years now, Pierre Rouret.
He certainly was a part of the American Le Mans Series when it was first created at the turn of this century, and by that stage was already an experienced sports car racer.
What is the battle, by the way, for third position overall, 5 minutes to go. Walked into our hotel restaurant the first evening and was greeted by Pierre with, not unusually, a glass of wine in his hand and a salute as we arrived. Bit of smoke from the rear of Jacques Nicolet's JSP2.
I don't think it was.
Not smoke, was it?
No.
It was dust.
Yeah. Little bit of
There
it
is.
Yeah. Now, not quite sure why suddenly Andy Cummings' car was going so slow. In fact, Cummings
Andy, I
has
think
stopped.
may have stopped, yeah.
Yeah, Cummings has stopped.
And where
that's Aby recovering from the gravel.
Now, where is Pescarolo?
Pescarolo,
where is
Perodo's gone by him.
He
because,
has.
look.
Oh, that's why.
Gravel trap beckons. There's one that Marcel Aby hadn't tested the resilience of,
yep.
So he felt that was like it. Unfortunately, I'm afraid, Andy Cummings, luckily, able to creep back into the pit lane.
And now the Watt family will be springing into action.
Yeah, which what?
Yeah, what? They'll be wondering where it is and why.
Yeah.
And what's gone wrong.
And which end of the pit lane is it?
So 4 minutes to go. Francois Perraudot, 8.8 seconds back, but not going quite as quickly as Sean Lynn. Still fending off Mathieu Lehay. Stuart Wiltshire, he's having a good run.
Yep.
Enjoying himself in this amazing car.
I have to say, how could you not? You're in Imola, the sun's shining, it's a beautiful circuit, you're in a factory LMP1 car.
Well, again, talking to Anthony this morning, he's not the first, second, third or fifth person to say this. That's the V8 car, but the V12 car, a massive favourite with the drivers, and that's a car that is recovering from an off as well. It's the 16 car, Stuart Wiltshire.
Yeah.
And he has dropped back.
So Mathieu Lehay has gone by him. Again, he has been troubled a little bit by understeer. I wonder if he's just ploughed on. So, yeah.
I should really have not said those words, shouldn't I?
Yeah, has he run out wide? This is Villeneuve chicane.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, and yeah, again, a well-trodden path through that gravel trap, as you can see. Not the first, won't be the last.
By there.
Might be that Mathieu Lehay had gone by already. 3 minutes remaining on the clock. Christian Albrecht, our race leader. Just a pause.
The great thing about this car is we can hear it on TV, but we can hear it on the other side of the circuit through our soundproof booth window.
Yeah, we can indeed. Such a great thing. And it was such a massive crowd favourite. Obviously, Le Mans is still Britain's biggest motor race in terms of the fan attendance, pretty much. And such a big crowd-pleasing favourite. Anything that makes a noise at Le Mans, a good noise, and you think, you know, Corvettes, the Panos, big thundering V8 American engines, this thing wailing away, yeah, they're all favourites. Yeah.
Well, they're thinking, yeah, we thought the Valkyrie made a good noise, and then this goes by. Remember, this is effectively the replacement in factory service for the iconic DBR1 GT1 car.
Yep.
And they did need to come up with something pretty and that sounded amazing to beat that, and boy, did they deliver. And
Lola did. And then Lola and Aston Martin, unfortunately, sort of fell out a little bit about whether it was a Lola or whether it was an Aston Martin and various other things.
Well, but it came, remember, from two programmes with the Shrews Racing organisation, with first an open top Lola, not unlike the one we've got here with the Judd, and then the standard Lola coupe chassis, and then we got this, and it was the famous quotes from David Richards that we talked about making a silk purse out of a sow's ear. It did not go down well with Martin Pirrain.
No.
And I think he meant to do it that way as well. If you're listening, David, you're a very naughty boy.
Yeah, yes. There was a distinct schism between Banbury and Huntingdon, and unfortunately, then that sort of heralded the end of this programme and introduced the, well, we won't talk about that.
Don't talk about the AMR. Oh, no, it did, nearly did.
Now then, seriously, in all seriousness, I've never seen one since they, I was going to say raced in period, but appeared in period.
I have.
Do any still exist?
Yeah, so there's, of all places, Martin Short, Roll Center Racing, spotted one there, and Martin and his guys have been working on the vibration problem at the rear of that car for a customer. They had, at that stage, what I believe was the only spare engine. They had an engine plus one. They say they'd solved it. 30 seconds to go, by the way. Also, who has one of these is Roel Goethe.
Does he indeed?
Son is,
okay,
of course, a current. He himself an XWC racer in GT. His son now racing full season. And that led to another really interesting episode in sports car racing, because Roel loaned the basis of that car to Henri Pescarolo for what proved to be a disastrous final design for Pescarolo, the 03, was it? I've been to his astonishing collection of principally Golf livery cars, and indeed there now is a full AMR1 in the collection, and in the storeroom the full Pescarolo bodywork.
Oh wow.
Could be done if anybody thought that there was a point in doing it.
To create another...
But a fascinating chapter, and a really sad chapter, because that was effectively the end of Henri Pescarolo's career as a constructor, if you like.
Half a lap left for Christian Albrecht. Checkered flag will be waiting at the marshal stand as he gets to the start-finish line.
What a great run he's had. 24 seconds to the good, and what a noise and what a sight. This thing, keep bringing it back, Christian.
And still lapping as quick as anybody else. 39.1 on the last lap, 39.0 from Sean Lynn in second. Francois Perrault, I think, settling for third, 42.
Marcel Abbey is closing him down.
Yeah, well, here we go. Victory in the first Legends of Le Mans race go to Christian Albrecht and the Aston Martin Lola Aston Martin.
It's going to be victory in the GT class for Frans van der Leck in the Fanta Racing Legend Code Racing. This wonderful Aston Martin has raced, by the way, both as a GT3 and a GTE in its life. One of the few GTE cars that could be raced in both formats, 5 men, 5 hours. That was the legend from the AMR team that put this car together, and here comes Francois Perrault.
He's going to third overall, and winning in LMP2. Sean Lynn has crossed the line ahead of him. And Sean Lynn in that Oraca liveried Peugeot, and here comes Stuart Wiltshire ahead of Mathieu Lahaye, who wins the invitational class of one. Managed not to lose out to himself.
Looks like trouble right at the end for Marcel Abbey, as he dropped from a challenge for third to 6th on the line, and it's just a racing guess.
10-second penalty.
That's exactly right.
Yep, that'll be his 10-second penalty being applied as he crossed the line, and so that drops him down, as you say, from where he would have been, hot on the heels of Francois Perrault, down to 6th position, but does not lose. Oh no, he does lose one place in class. Stuart Wiltshire is third in LMP1.
Yeah.
In the second of the Peugeots, the first of the blue Peugeots. Christian Albrecht started from pole position, front row racing, living up to their name, and ending up with victory, having led every lap.
Difficult to say that drive of the day with anything other than Christian Albrecht, but I think Francois Perrault gave him a run for his money on that front. And
also, I have to say, Marcel Abbey, for entirely different reasons.
Absolutely, you know, but other way, finish the race.
Fan favourite.
Absolutely fan favourite.
Yeah. He might get Crompton Lighting Driver of the Day. And I think the Silverstone Lady Marshals Award would absolutely go to Francois Perrault.
Absolutely right, as it normally would.
Indeed.
Well,
if David Leslie wasn't racing, it would be Francois Perrault.
But Francois clearly enjoying that, waving to the crowd. Well, I think that went very well.
I think that went very well indeed. And more of this, please. We'll be very much looking forward to seeing these cars in action at Spa.
And when it's race 2?
Tomorrow morning, 8:30.
Oh, good grief.
I know, it is very good grief. 8:30 to 9:35.
So if
we'll be on air tomorrow.
If you're coming to the FIA World Endurance Championship tomorrow at Imola and you forget to set an alarm, it won't be difficult to tell you when cars are on track.
If you're camping, if you're the family there with the banners hanging off their balcony, yeah, you won't oversleep.
Cracking stuff. Well done to all concerned there. And the vast majority of those cars finishing the race, did we not?
Yeah. Yeah, the only car that didn't make it through in the end was that of Andy Cummings. Yeah. So, right from the start, it was evident that Christian Albrecht was not going to let the Peugeots interfere with things. But from fifth on the grid, the enterprising and entertaining Marcel Aebbe raced up into second place, threw the car into the gravel, returned in second place, and decided that actually escaping from the gravel was just as much fun as staying on the grey stuff itself. Right behind him, Sean Lynn took a few laps before he summoned up his courage, taking it in both hands and eventually trying to find a way by the wayward red and white car in front of him. Lynn, once in second place, set sail after Christian Albrecht, but was unable to rein in the rampant Aston Martin engine Lola. The LMP2 leader right from the start was Francois Perraudot in the Porsche RS Spyder, and he attacked the LMP1 cars with impunity as Marcel Aebbe continued to test the patience of race control and the frangibility of his car. Little bump off the chicane for the HPD AER. APX rather, and a spin for Sean Lynn at Variante Alta, and that really sealed the deal with his chase of the race leader. Mid-race battle, they continued all the way to the end. Jacques Nicolet and Marc Train having an entertaining tussle. And Francois Perraudot racing up behind Steve Brooks. Brooks then backing the car off into the barriers and taking third place as Marcel Aebbe looped it around, trying out another gravel trap for size down at the Rivazza. Checkered flag and victory in the first race of Legends of Le Mans. Setting his mark in history, Christian Albrecht, Sean Lynn finishing second, Francois Perraudot third overall and winning in LMP2, and the invitation class winner Mathieu Lahaye in the JMB Classic car. Our GT3 winner, LMGTE winner rather, Frans Wunderlich. No relation, I think, to the 60s organist Klaus.
So that was it for the first race in Legends of Le Mans. Christian Albrecht, 25 laps completed, 26 seconds ahead of Sean Lynn. The 008's Lola Aston Martin ahead of Sean Lynn's Peugeot 908. Francois Perraudot headed the LMP2 class with third overall with his magnificent number 83 Porsche RS Spyder. It was Stuart Wiltshire completing the LMP1 podium in his Peugeot. Front row racing's Evgeny Kirev and Rinaldi Racing's Pierre Arret in their Oraca 05 and the Ligier JSP2, respectively, the podium for LMP2. And it was the Frans Wunderlich Pedal 25 Aston Martin that took the GT class ahead of the Comatec 13 Lotus Evora GTE. 40 seconds, by the way, so it only losing a second a lap for what is basically a decade older car. So a good run from both drivers in that class.
Yep, and be nice to see some more LMGTE cars out as well.
I believe we will see some at Spa. You know, I think it's... I think what a lot of owners of these cars of huge value, need to see that these new series are run to a very professional standard. It very clearly is. Huge amount of respect being shown, both in the paddock and on track. And we look forward to the phones ringing at Peter Auto with a disorderly queue of people offering LMP1, LMP2 and GTE cars to bring to the fray.
Well, it's not a championship. It's not a ladder to World Championship greatness at another level. It is a chance to race these cars that you might have sat and watched trackside or on the TV, and actually just to really enjoy some wonderful machinery for the fans, and especially for the drivers and the teams that run them. And that's the spirit in which it's being run, that it is a real golden opportunity to get these cars back out of mothballs and see them and hear them running again.
And come and join the show at a rampantly successful at the moment FI World Endurance Championship. So it will grow from here. There are certainly cars in rebuild and regeneration to come to this championship. We'll see, I'm sure, some of those out later. But for now, thanks to everybody that's watched. It's been fantastic fun here at Imola, Martin.
Yes, and our second race gets underway at 08:40 local time, so 06:40 GMT. We'll be on air 10 minutes beforehand, so 8:30 Central European Summer Time, 06:30 GMT. Until then, from Graham Goodwin, me, Martin Haven, and the FIA WEC TV crew here in Imola, thanks to everybody at Legends of Le Mans. We'll see you first thing tomorrow morning for another 40-minute race.